This is for the Nasdaq recap on May 12th. As you have seen in hopefully previous videos, these are some things that I'm looking for in a given day. I'll just pause it right here. This is 9 o'clock. I am on Central Standard Time, so I do avoid the first 30 minutes for this reason right here. Usually it's just a jumbled mess. But also at this time, it gives me a better idea to figure out what might be some current trend lines that are existing along the way. You can see a bit of a wedge that's forming, but it's hard to put too much into any of that because we're just still early. Straight lines, trend lines. This yellow line is actually where it ended yesterday, and this was the low of the day yesterday. So you can tell that we gapped down in the pre-market. Sometimes when that happens, it will actually fill that gap. So there's this gap that's existing right here. We don't come in and we assume it, but it's good to know that that's a possibility on certain days for no particular reason or news, but sometimes these gaps will just fill. So when this happened right here, this was telling me that we were probably going to be filling a gap. Now, I don't start trading until 9:15. I like to look at it at 9 o'clock. But I don't like to start trading until 9:15. I've just noticed that it can just be dangerous. But that gap filled. You can see it tapped where it ended the previous day. So at this point in time, I am seeing that the 820 clouds have crossed over. That green line has crossed over, and I'm looking for a possibility to enter into some calls. Okay, this has now moved up pretty fast in the day. And so you can see that this is potentially a resistance level, and it's moving back down here. So at this point, you can see my triangle down here is really not going to help us anymore. So I will go ahead and see if we can find some kind of a trend line that we can draw up here to help us to figure out for a good entry point. And so I am eyeing calls right now. The PSAR dot has shown that calls are in play. I also watched the RSI of the Nasdaq stocks, and they were all sitting at 70. So I was looking for a call position right here at an area of support on the trend line. But I was also going small because this is not a market where I'm tending to really believe in long call positions. And so right there, got in on a call position. You can see it's actually gone past the high of the day. And I am scalping. I don't know when this is going to stop moving, and I am selling into strength. So that was a 50% move. From here to here, that was a 50% move. And so I was out, and I was actually now looking for a possible reversal. And so if we're looking for reversal along the way, you have to realize we're above VWAP. That's the yellow line here. PSAR has not switched over, and our clouds are very green. So we can't just assume that a reversal is going to occur just because we think that this is overextended. So what I'm going to do is I have a trend line right there. And if I'm wondering if possibly the high of the day is in, I will actually draw my Fibonacci levels to see if it does pull back, what could possibly be the retracement. So we'll watch this here. And this is not a time to get into puts yet. We want to see if maybe it'll test that high of the day again, or if it will actually pull back. So now you can see it's actually broken the trend line, and it hit this Fibonacci level, the 23.6, and it's hovering there. Okay. Now keep your eyes on that PSAR. Okay. So now the PSAR has switched over. So that is a possible reversal. However, what I want to see when I'm trading is I want to make sure that before I get into an actual reversal, I want to see that it's closed below the 20 EMA. So that's the red line right there. You can see it came down, hit a fib level, and it bounced up again. And so at this point, what I want to do is I want to put a stop buy right under this level here at 291.5. There it goes. And so I'm in on my put position here. And that was at about 10.25. However, the question is always, how far is this going to go? So I got in on this position right here. And yes, I want to scale out at 20% and 50%. However, what I did is I scaled out a small part of my position at this fib level here because sometimes it does bounce. And then I actually sold another quarter position right here at this VWAP because it will bounce there sometimes. And I'm actually eyeing this Fibonacci level right here, the 61.8. So you'll see throughout the day this 28.10 range became a magnet. And so now it's time to really even talk about spinning tops, because we're going to see something popping up here that is very important to watch in a day for potential reversals. Okay, so it did not get all the way down to this 78.6 fib, but instead what you're going to see here is that we have doji candles. So we have these indecision candles in the middle right here. And this is a sign to close out your position that this move down here is now in an indecision range, which means there's probably going to be some sort of a bounce up at some point in time. And so you have about 20 minutes here to get out. This would have been a good one to get out on here on that flush. And I see it a lot where these spinning tops really do point to the fact that it's going to pop back up or reverse. We just don't know how far it's going to go. So watch this. This pulled back up, and then it also hit this 38.2 fib. Now, is it going to go beyond that? It's hard to know, but it is now above VWAP. The clouds have not crossed. The clouds are still red, so this is still favoring puts, but we're trying to figure out, well, where is the top here? How high is this going to go? And so I will admit, in my trading today, I got pulled in on this one. It went down below VWAP, and I was thinking, okay, so that's the move. And then it just bounced right up. But that's okay. I've learned to take a loss in that case and just make sure I keep watching and stay fluid, because there's always going to be an opportunity along the way. So right here, you can see it's still struggling in that area. And if it gets back below this level right here, then I'm getting back in on my puts. So there we go. It did get below VWAP, and now this is the question of how far is this actually going to pull back, because we now have a rejection of that reversal. The clouds have stayed red, and so what I like to do is I like to have a channel drawn just to give me some kind of an expectation of, is this honoring levels along the way? And I can adjust this as we go. But this ended up being over 100% move. So you want to watch how this is working. And you can see it got below VWAP, the yellow line there, and it's struggling with this fib, the 61.8. We also want to keep this level in mind right here, that at 287.95, that was an area of support. So this is in this channel. I have now a full position, and now right here, I am looking to sell at this area of support down here. So I sold half my position right there. The other part I am watching is this fib level, the 78.6. So I also sold at that point, and now I'm holding a fourth of a position. So how far is this going to move? When you see this as almost a heat-seeking missile, it's going to go until it can find support. And you can see in this whole area, these Fibonacci levels are actually very, very accurate. And so I'm holding with full confidence at this point to say, you know what, show me that you can actually come back down to the low of the day. You'll find out though, I noticed this today, that this low wick is not necessarily representative of where this was going on a day. It's not always going to be the extreme lower side of a wick. And so I am looking to not sell like way down here. I'm not going to get really greedy and hold out for a few extra dollars. I want to put my sell for the final part of my quarter position here and put it right here at the 28 or 285.4 level. So you can see this is fighting back, but it did hit that level. So right there, it hit that 285.4. I am all out at this point. And at this point, risk reward says to not buy puts at the bottom of a range. Your risk is too great to buy puts at that point. We're now at 130, and you can see this is fighting back a little bit. We do have some indecision candles, and it did come back and it hit this low of the day once again. However, the risk reward is still not very good at this point to really do much about it. And so let me just get rid of the Fibonacci levels right now, just to say that it's just good to focus in on these PSAR and to see how far low it is below that 8 EMA, because we do have another move coming in our day, and I'm actually just going to hover my cursor right here above this resistance level to say that if there's going to be some sort of a bounce, I'm not getting in until it actually comes above this level in our day. And so I would place a stop buy on calls. I'm also wary of the end of the day that I want to get out quickly. And so right here, you're going to see very soon my stop buy. It won't buy until it hits this spot right here. So I'm not in at this point. I am not in until I can see confirmation above this 20 EMA. So you can see right there I got in. And I want to sell a good chunk of my position there at VWAP. And that's a good safe spot to say, you know what, I'm satisfied, I'm good. That was a good 20% move just from here to here. Because at the end of the day, just about anything can happen. You can see VWAP is really a tough resistance level. This was also a fib level. You can see high wicks. Anything that you entered here at this point in time is a chance that is not necessarily worth taking. You will see that it will finish strong at the end of the day, but there's no way to know that that for sure will occur. Let's see where this actually ends up in our final minutes of the day. See if this even comes back up and tests where it ended yesterday. It's now testing the low of the day from yesterday. And that is right where it ended at the end of our day. So to review, this was a 100% move, this was a 20% move, and this was well over a 50% move depending on where you got in. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know how I can help.